These soldiers are given specific instructions to extract an American citizen trapped in a war-ridden country. However, the citizen refuses to leave behind the locals, forcing the soldiers to help over 70 locals to safety amidst the rebels' uprising. A journalist reports the rapid increase in political turmoil in Nigeria, where a coup d'etat has claimed the life of the Nigerian president and his entire family. Chaos is on the rise, and more people are getting killed by the day. It has become increasingly hard to survive in the country. The conflict between the Fulani Muslims in the north and the Christian Igbo in the south increases by the day, and many people from both sides are losing their lives. Elsewhere, a U.S. Navy SEAL team reports for duty after an assignment, only to be sent on another extraction mission. They are to go to Nigeria and extract Dr. Lena Kendricks, an American citizen by marriage. Her husband had been executed by rebels in Sierra Leone. That is their primary mission, and if they can, they should also extract a priest and 2 nuns living in a help mission. The team is briefed about their extraction plan and where they will find Kendricks and the nuns. Soon, the soldiers board the aircraft carrier Harry S. Truman and parachute into their target vicinity. Once their mission is complete, they will send a signal to Captain Bill Rhodes to extract them at a rendezvous position. They lie hidden in the water, kidnapping a local woman and forcing her to take them to Kendricks. The team leader, Commander Lieutenant aka Waters, finds Kendricks in a makeshift hospital. He pulls her aside to talk, warning her of the imminent danger since the rebels are quickly approaching the area. Kendricks realizes that this is an extraction mission, but she refuses to leave until all the locals seeking help at the mission are taken to the Cameroonian border a few miles out. She cannot let the locals remain in the village alone since she knows it is only a matter of time before they are found and killed. Waters refuses, as this is not part of his mission, prompting Kendricks to refuse to accompany the soldiers. Waters calls his superiors to inform them of the situation, and they advise him to do whatever possible to bring Kendricks in. Waters' team debates forcing Kendricks to come with them, but that would be a crime, so Waters allows Kendricks to help the locals. He will escort them to the border, but he can only be liable for those who can walk. Kendricks quickly assembles the locals, and the priest and nuns stay behind to help the wounded. Waters' team wonders why they are going to such great lengths to rescue someone who is not a born citizen, but Waters silences them. Soon, the soldiers and the locals leave the mission and start their journey. However, the team faces a challenge when a young child's cries draw the attention of passing rebels. The team hides, but one rebel spots Kendricks. Luckily, Waters eliminates him before he can alert the others. Kendricks tells Waters that the rebels are going to the mission. She wants the soldiers to go back and help, but Waters explains he is responsible for the 70 locals, Kendricks and his team, so he cannot go on a suicide mission. Back at the mission, the rebels arrive at the church. They ask the priest about the U.S. soldiers and where they are headed. The priest refuses to say anything, so the rebels eliminate everyone and set the place on fire. Later, Waters and his team reach the rendezvous point and throw smoke bombs to alert the helicopters of their location. As soon as the helicopters land, the soldiers carry Kendricks to the plane and leave the locals stranded. Kendricks begs for the soldiers to help, but Waters maintains that he is following orders. Kendricks can only watch in pain as the locals remain stranded in the jungle, defenseless against the approaching rebels. She knows that when the locals are found, it will be a full-on slaughter. As the helicopter flies above the mission, Waters and his team are devastated to see the rebels have executed everyone and left the building burning. This gives them a change of heart, and they go back to get the stranded locals. Unfortunately, the helicopters cannot fit all the refugees, so Waters, his team, and Kendricks decide to escort the remaining ones on foot. Waters' superiors are angry since Waters has disobeyed direct orders, and there is no more aid to give to his team. Soon, Waters and his team realize that the rebels are somehow tracking him. This makes him wonder how that is possible and why the rebels are interested in them. Nonetheless, the team continues walking while chatting. Waters and Kendricks share a few thoughts about the situation in Nigeria and how unstable the place is. Soon, the team stumbles upon a village where the locals are being terrorized by rebels. The soldiers witness for the first time the horror that the Nigerian rebels are instilling in the villagers, including murder, abuse, and torture. They decide to help the villagers by killing the rebels. The surviving villagers join the team en route to the Cameroonian border. Some of Waters' men hear some cries coming from a hut and run to help. They are horrified by the torture that is going on in the hut. They cannot believe that humans could be so ruthless, and they take a moment to grieve for the pain that the locals are going through. After killing every rebel, the team departs. Once again, Waters discovers that they are being tracked by the rebels. He tells Kendricks about this, asking her whether she trusts everyone she came with. Kendricks shares that there were a few late arrivals, so the soldiers want to check their possessions. One of the men runs away but is gunned down. A transmitter is found on his body revealing that he was indeed the Rat. With his last breath, he says that he was spying for the rebels since they had taken his family. He then tells them that he is talking to them because of one of the locals who turns out to be the late president's son, Arthur. It is revealed that Arthur is the legitimate chief of the Igbo nation, making him a valuable asset and explaining why the team is being tracked. His ancestry means that he is a major threat to the rebels since his legitimacy makes him a threat. Waters calls his superiors for help, but again, they refuse to send any resources. Instead, they advise Waters to release Arthur to the rebels, as this will give them a chance to reach the border safely. Waters calls his men and asks them what they think should be the way forward. The US government is refusing to help because they don't want to be involved in Nigeria's politics. The soldiers refuse to give up Arthur, and Waters warns them that they are on their own. The team comes up with a plan to stay behind and deal with the rebels, while the locals make their way to the Cameroonian border, which is very close. Kendricks and her team walk toward the border while the soldiers stay behind to buy them more time. Soon, the rebels reach the spot where their spy had been killed and find his body was left behind. One of the rebels goes to investigate but finds himself in a fix. It turns out Waters had fitted it with a grenade, allowing it to execute a few rebels in the resulting explosion. However, the rebels are not deterred, but instead send for hundreds of reinforcements. They are on a mission to eliminate Arthur, and they are willing to take down whoever stands in their way. Soon, the soldiers are ambushed and have to involve themselves in deadly combat with the rebels. Sadly, Waters loses a few of his team and soon realizes that he cannot outnumber the hundreds of rebels approaching their position. He regrets his choices, especially since he feels like he led the Nigerians to slaughter. Suddenly, he hears his fellow soldiers back at the base calling in as they want to know which spot the team is in. It appears that the superiors have agreed to help their soldiers after all. Waters is happy at this, although he has lost half his men. He also fears that help might be a long distance away, seeing that they are being cornered by the relentless rebels. Waters orders the locals and Kendricks to rush to the borders and helps any locals trapped in the gunfire. The locals manage to make it out of the bushes, but Waters heads back to grab his surviving men. Soon, military aircraft fly above the area, and Waters and his team throw a smoke grenade to give them directions on where to aim missiles at. The plan works, and the helicopters drop down bombs, executing the remaining rebels. The helicopters land in Cameroon, but the border has been closed, trapping the soldiers and the locals back in Nigeria. Bill exits the helicopters and orders that the border be opened. Waters and his team, plus the locals, manage to get to the Cameroonian border. Families are reunited, and it is a happy day for the team, seeing how their actions save lives. One woman speaks on behalf of the other locals who had been saved by Waters and his team. She thanks him for saving their lives, saying that she will never forget the kindness that he showed them. She also gives him condolences for his loss, making Waters feel that he had done something meaningful by disobeying his orders. The locals are excited to see Arthur, and they start singing praise songs, giving hope that there might be a chance for victory after all. Waters, his remaining soldiers, and Kendricks get on a helicopter. Kendricks thanks Waters for his role in helping the locals. Bill also promises to help him get the bodies of his fallen soldiers for a proper burial. The plane flies away as Kendricks bids a happy farewell to her beloved locals.